Hey guys, Eli here. Hope you're all doing well. So if you watched my least favorites video from, I don't know, a week ago or so, you know how I felt about 2025 just as a year. As a year in cinema, it was solid, man. It was okay. You know, not as good as maybe 2024 in my opinion, but I got a small handful of movies that I will continue to think about and occasionally watch, in the upcoming years and probably forever. Theaters are going to potentially struggle even more this year, so they will need our support even more. I went a lot in 2025, and I'll try to go more in 2026. Although, yeah, we'll see. We'll see if I can do that. I think I saw either 66 or 67 movies, and I definitely missed a ton. So I'm going to try to not miss as much. Regardless, here's the 10 movies that I enjoyed the most in 2025. The Legend of Ochi is a movie that not a lot of people saw in 2025, and I think that's a huge bummer. It's not a perfect film by any means, but it's got cult classic written all over it. I know people say that all the time. I myself have said it before, but I mean it with this one more than before. It's weird and quirky in kind of a Wes Anderson way. It's got tons of cool little filmmaking touches like matte paintings, puppetry, and for every time it does something you've seen before in a different movie, it does something unique. Just like the last film, the Baltimoreans went underseen and underappreciated, and it's a bummer to see them struggle on already low budgets. While far less interesting movies are much more successful. The Baltimoreans is an indie comedy that succeeds at being both funny and very well written. It's sweet, it's emotionally heavy, sad, happy. I guess really what I'm trying to say is it's real. This is like a real life movie. But if indie comedies are at all your thing and you missed this, you really messed up and you should try and fix your life. I don't think you will see many top 10 lists for 2025 that won't have Sinners on it. I'm always up for a new vampire movie, and if you're going to give me something original, even better. I appreciate ambition. Ryan Coogler gave us, a sort of Jordan Peele-esque, thematically deep vampire period piece, and it moved him up to the top of the list of directors that, a lot of us will be paying attention to. And its sequel is definitely at the top of my list of movies I'm, most anticipating in the near future, though I don't know, when it comes out. Yorgos Lanthimos is a very interesting director. He's been around a while, but we never really crossed paths until last year with Poor Things. And I like that movie quite a bit, but Begonia is much more my kind of thing, much more my cup of tea. It's still very weird, but much more grounded than Poor Things. It's actually one of the more bizarre sci-fi films I've seen in recent years, with one of my favorite endings of recent years. We also got great performances from Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone, and a story that just never relents. I can't wait to see what Yorgos Lanthimos does next, and something tells me it won't be long. Not only have we been getting quite a lot of Stephen King content lately, we've been getting arguably some of the best yet. Definitely one of the more intense films of 2025, and its timing, I think, is no accident. I said this in my review. Go watch it if you want. But yeah, considering the source material here is a 1979 novel. It's sad, it's oppressive, it's violent, but it's also a stark reminder that no nation is immune to authoritarianism, and it's also a reminder that when we have nothing left, we will always have our humanity, and we will always have each other, and that can't be taken away. If this film doesn't at least get you thinking, reflecting on current events, then I have a fucking bridge to sell you, my friend. All right, now we're getting to my top five, and here's a fun fact. I saw these next five films in the theater multiple times, at least 2 to 3 times each. I actually saw Weapons 3 times. I think that was the most I saw any movie in the theater in 2025, although I saw a few movies 3 times. And it's my third favorite horror film of that year. Everyone seemed to love it, and for good reason. Zach Cregger has a lot of talent, and he's, I think he's shaping up to be one of the more interesting directors in modern horror, based off his last 2 films. Weapons is a fun, character-driven story with a new, potential future horror icon in Amy Madigan's Gladys character. Together was my second favorite horror film of 2025, and my favorite of what I would consider Lovecraftian horror. We also got Strange Harvest and Man Finds Tape, and at least from what I saw, but Together is just a better film overall. Controversy be damned. You also get strong body horror elements, which I'm always a sucker for, wrapped up in a story about codependency. Bring Her Back was my favorite horror film of 2025. I was a huge fan of Talk to Me, and I could not wait to see what the Philippo brothers would bring us next. Is it quite as good as Talk to Me? I'm not really sure. I've been thinking about it, all year, but it's definitely not a sophomore slump. It's very good. The characters are likable. The performances are great. Upon numerous watches, I think the ending could have been a little bit better, could have tied things up just a little bit differently. That's all I think I'll say for now. And I know that prequel, the word prequel is a dirty word, but how cool would a prequel be focusing, like entirely on that weird, creepy cult or whatever those people are from the videotapes? I had a really hard time choosing between my two favorite films of the year, and at one point Companion was actually in the #1 spot. It's just such a cool, fun movie with tons of rewatch value. I love Jack Quaid, and Sophie Thatcher is really coming into her own, and I'm really excited to see what she does next. Hopefully some more horror stuff. But not that this is horror, I'm just saying hopefully more horror stuff. Companion might borrow a little bit from from AI/cyborg movies, from the past, but it does its own thing with it. It's clever, it's funny, it's exciting, it's charming, and I can't recommend it enough. I think I've said it already probably a dozen times, but Friendship is the funniest movie I've seen in over a decade. Which should be no surprise, seeing as how I'm a massive Tim Robinson fan. I mean, Tim, for me, is just the savior of modern comedy. I believe that. He just doesn't have any misses yet. Detroiters, I Think You Should Leave, The Chair Company. You can't lose with any of those. This is more of a dark comedy along the lines of The Cable Guy with Paul Rudd and Kate Mara. Thanks for A24 for giving us the funniest comedy of the year, and for me, the decade. Well, guys, that's it. It sure was a year. I think I aged like 5 years, but I'm still kicking, right? I see hard times coming. I think we will get even more bleak films this year as people express their fear and frustration. And to keep us sane, I hope we get more films like Friendship and Companion. Cheers, guys, and I'll see you at the multiplex. Let's stay strong in 2026. Subscribe right now, please.